Doom: The Dark Ages has reportedly sold 800,000 copies in the first 2 weeks since its release. This is a very disappointing number compared to the 3 million units worldwide sold by Doom Eternal in the first month. The franchise seemed to be growing since it surpassed Doom 2016, which sold 1 million copies. So, what happened? Is the game a flop? Why is it not selling enough? First, one of the main things I believe contribute to this smaller amount of sales is the price of the game. The physical copy costs around $95 where I live. It is almost a 50% price increase since Eternal, which released at $60. Yes, the digital version is slightly cheaper, but I myself prefer buying single-player games on disc because I can play them and resell them in a month or two. So the entry price is huge for a 16-hour single-player game, and the economy is what it is at this point. Yet the same article mentions that Bethesda reported 3 million people played the game so far. This means that out of the 3 million players, almost 2 million or a bit more played it through Game Pass. Of course, when you have to choose between paying $90 for a game or buying 1 month of Game Pass at $11, which one are you going to choose?
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
If you're not a collector or you don't care about having a physical game library, you're going to choose Game Pass. You pay for a month, finish the game, which you can definitely do in 1 month, and then cancel. But is this good for Microsoft, Bethesda, and the industry as a whole? We need to do some math, folks. We need to figure out a way to measure Doom's impact to conclude whether it was a flop or not. First, to get this out of the way, 3 million units sold for Doom Eternal is consistent with the 3 million players reported by Bethesda, so the interest in the franchise did not decline, it kept at a constant rate. But the way the players chose to access the game changed. And the problem is that we don't know yet how many players will keep the Game Pass subscription after they finish the game. They might pay for a month or two and then cancel. And what does a studio, a corporation like Microsoft care about? The bottom line, how much money does a game make? And by giving the option to play the game at just $11, you're of course going to make less money than when all 3 million players would straight up buy the game at $60. You need to keep those people subscribed to Game Pass for 6+ months to be able to make the same level of profit. So one part is to measure how many people subscribe to Game Pass for Doom and then see how long they keep that subscription. But there's also another thing. From a business perspective, you also need to make sure your existing subscribers stay subscribed, and you do that by constantly adding new games that make people want to stay subscribed. So how do we calculate the game's impact there? Well, this is when it becomes a bit more complicated. You need to see which subscribers would have otherwise cancelled. That is, basically you need to see which people said something like, okay, I want to unsubscribe, but because of Doom: The Dark Ages, I won't, and I will also keep it for 6 more months. That is very, very complicated, and probably you'll not be able to count those people because you don't know what they are thinking. But overall, a few years ago, you had 3 million people who liked the game enough to buy it for full price, and now you have only 800,000 people. And keep in mind, although Game Pass is an option, it is not an option everywhere. For example, Game Pass is not available where I live, so I cannot buy it. You can buy prepaid cards and stuff, but it's not directly available. So, with all this talk of sales and subscription, one might ask, is the game itself any good? Well, yes it is. For me it feels slower than Eternal, but the art style is absolutely amazing, the shooting feels good, the movement feels on point. I like the fact that the developers keep reinventing how the game is played with each entry, and I respect that a lot. The scale is there and it really fulfills the power fantasy that was promised to be the weapon of gods and kings. So by no means we can attribute the lower sales number to the actual quality of the game. It's all Game Pass and the price point. And now whether this is good or not, it remains to be seen in how Microsoft treats this franchise and the future entries. The game began development before Microsoft bought Activision. Since this is now a first-party game, it's up for Microsoft to distribute the money properly and properly fund ID Software for their future Doom entries, make sure they are properly staffed and not restrict the team's creativity. So is Doom: The Dark Ages a flop? Well, it's not, with 3 million players, and the number of sales will only go up, since many people are waiting to buy the game when it's discounted and they can get a more normal entry price for this game. But while this game is not a flop, I'm afraid for the future entries in the franchise if Microsoft decides they are not happy with the Game Pass numbers, since this is the main driver for the number of players so far. But this remains to be seen, and if you enjoyed the video, please consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel, and let me know in the comments if you played Doom: The Dark Ages, are you waiting for a discount, and what's your opinion on this situation, and I'll see you in the next video.